Thanks, Becca. And hi, everyone. Can I get like this woot woot so I can see you're with me? I can see you guys. Give me a woot woot. Yes, I see you guys. Great. So, Becca, thank you so much. And like she just shared, one of our missions here at Vibe Israel is sharing Israel's story with the world. And as branding and marketing experts, we know that the first step we need to take before sharing the story is getting to know our target audience. And as the Academy manager here, I work with a lot of communities, federations, and different Jewish organizations. And I always ask them, who's your target audience? Who do you want to engage? And you know what is the number one answer I get almost every single time? They tell me we want to engage young adults, or we want to engage the millennials in our community. And sometimes it's even more specific as Gen Z. And what I always tell them is that young adults are not a target audience. Neither are millennials or Gen Z. These groups are too big of an audience to be a target audience or to be a specific group that you're targeting. What you need to do, if in the past we used to identify our target audience by demographics or age or gender, is to actually identify them by tribes. Now, what are tribes, or what is tribe marketing, like we like to call it? Tribe marketing is a term that was coined by Seth Godin. He's this guru, his marketing guru. And he said that a group needs only two things in order to be a tribe. They need a common interest and a way to communicate. Once they have both of it, they are a tribe, and that's how you can reach them, and that's how you can adapt your messaging and be more specific towards what they're interested in. Now, I know that I recognize that tribe can be a heavy-weighted term, but I know that words matter, and I'm recognizing it. But when you talk about marketing, it's very important that we introduce you the latest techniques. So we'll give you tips in a few minutes how you can identify tribes in your community. And I'm going to invite my first guest in 1 minute. But before, I'm going to give you an example of how did we use tribe marketing here at Vibe Israel in the past decade. One of the things we do is we bring influencers to Israel, social media influencers, or if you'd like to call them, the head of the tribe. And we brought them to Israel, and what we did is we showed them Israel through their interest point. For example, we brought foodies, or vegans, or even mommies and fashionistas, because they are tribes. And once we adapted the message that they want to hear and they're interested in, that's what got them engaged. Now, to talk more about it, I would love to invite my first guest, Dr. Hila Oren. Dr. Hila Oren is the CEO of the Tel Aviv Foundation, and hi. She's a city maker, and she was a part of Tel Aviv Global, which was the international marketing arm of Tel Aviv. Hi, Hila.
Hi.
What's up? How are you?
I'm great.
Great. I'm excited to have Hila. She was a part of the branding and marketing efforts of the city of Tel Aviv. Now, Hila, I just talked about tribes and tribe marketing. Can you share with us a bit about the process that you did in Tel Aviv to identify the tribes that you wanted to engage?
Let's go one step back, because when you talk about tribes in a city like Tel Aviv, it's about global cities. Cities are part of a networking between them. New York, Shanghai, Tel Aviv, London, Paris. The tribes are part of Tel Aviv, okay, part of that DNA. And when you look at Tel Aviv, and you look at the pictures over here, you get the vibe, you get the energy. This is part of the city. Now, some of it, one tribe is the sports tribe, the people that will go to have a marathon in New York or in Tel Aviv or anywhere else. Some are through the architecture, some are through culinary.
So what you're telling me is that you didn't look at Tel Aviv as like young adults in Tel Aviv. You didn't look at them as one group, but you segmented them to a smaller group.
Exactly. Never look at a city, and it doesn't matter, again, which city. You can look at Jerusalem and you can look at Tel Aviv. There are two different cities with two different DNAs and two different tribes in them. I think the sports tribe in Tel Aviv and the sports tribe in Jerusalem actually would be different, because if you want to go and have a marathon, to have a marathon on the beach and a marathon on the hills, again, is a little different.
So if I understand correctly, and if I'm going to take it back to our audience in the US, if they're looking in their community and they're looking at other communities, different trends and different tribes can relate to different areas, right?
Exactly, and it's all about values. When we talk about tolerance, the LGBT community is again a tribe. The value of sports and clean air and sustainability is another tribe that's interested in good food and in climate and in things like that. The lifestyle tribe is a tribe that would care about architecture.
But can you share with us, how do I know who's the tribes in my community? What did you do in order to figure out who are the tribes? What are people are interested in?
So I think anywhere in the world you have to listen to your audience, listen to your clients, listen to your partners, and also look into global networking. Marathons are all over the world. UNESCO or World Heritage sites, which are different sites all over, are people that go into those places. So once Tel Aviv won the Bauhaus World Heritage Site, it was another tribe that we knew that would attract people. Culinary is another tribe, and we felt it through the restaurants, through the young chefs, through the trend that went all over the world. You look for good restaurants, right? When you go, you care for what you eat.
So I hear two things in what you're telling us, right? The first thing is to ask people what are they interested in. But I'm hearing another thing, because you said Bauhauses. And there are tribes like architecture, right? But there are smaller tribes like Bauhauses, which are even more specific. Why do we need to be specific in finding our tribes?
Because when we look in marketing, we have to understand how do we position, how do we make a difference between one tribe and the other, because each one of us want to find that unique selling point, the USP, the exact place where you feel comfortable, where you feel that this brand is what you look. So for Tel Aviv, once you divide it into different, for instance, on the beach, like everybody likes to go to the beach and to enjoy it, whether it's the Tel Aviv beach, the Barcelona one, the Athens one, whatever. But we made that blue flag, which is a trend all over the world, that is connected to very clean water, to sustainability, to people that are interested in specific beaches. That was, again, in a way, another tribe. Look at those different tribes, listen, find that unique selling point, and then connect them to other networks all over the world in different cities. Again, don't be just alone, because you can't invent the wheel. You have to look for the trends that are already there, that already New York found them, that already London found them, and Tel Aviv can just join that trend. And I think we were lucky, because in 2011, when we started doing this, we didn't talk about the high tech, the startuppers. What about them? All that hip of the Startup Nation book that was just published, we were so lucky that was part of our tribe in Tel Aviv. And the people that went from summit, to a DLD summit, to another innovative summit, to the co-working space. I don't know if you remember, but WeWork was not even invented at the time. It was just started in 2012.
So a lot of name dropping about different events in Tel Aviv. And as a Tel Avivian, I can tell you that I recognize all the names, and I really connect to Tel Aviv and to the different things you're doing. Can you share with us one success story that you focused on one tribe and you had one event specifically for them because you adapted the messaging and the content for what they were looking for?
I think let's go to the last story we just started, the startuppers, as we call them. Tel Aviv started to be I would say, the concentration of the ecosystem of the startuppers of all over the world. Microsoft, Facebook, all the big companies decided to put their R&Ds here. And then we joined the DLD global event, which started in Munich, but we helped them, import them to Tel Aviv. They came and we joined them. So just to join a trend is what we did. And I think through that collaboration, the crowd, I would say, joined. And in a way, our mission as city makers is to take off red tapes and roll red carpets. In marketing, this is what you need to do, that the people will feel invited, will feel that this is the place that wants them. And once they are feeling hugged and feeling wanted, they come, I think, easier, quicker. And that's how we...
Oh, I'm coming. I'm here. I'm coming. Hopefully our audience will come as well, and I'm sure they've visited here. If you can give 2 tips to the Jewish communities that are watching us, to the organizations that are watching us, as a marketing experts, how to address the next generation in their community, what would you share with them?
Share your passion. This is what you like. Sometimes Israel, which is such a big thing in our heart, stands for a conflict. While, for instance, Tel Aviv stands for fun, for culinary, for for startups, for LGBT, for tolerance, for talent, for technology. If your passion is there, share it with your friends. And then pull them, bring them over here through your passion, through these images of fun and taste and aroma, and they'll just come.
Yes, I think you're connecting exactly the dots that I just shared about passion points and interest and showing all the good things, exactly like Joanna and Becca shared with us. And this is exactly the Israel that we want to show and that we want to emphasize, especially to the next generation and especially to the tribes of your community. Hila, toda rabba. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to start with our tips on how to better know your target audience. And the first and foremost, the first tip I always say is ask and don't assume, right? You know who your target audience is. So create focus groups, exactly like Hila shared with us. Bring some people and invite them to sit over a beer and ask them, what is the hottest trends? What are you interested in? I know when I'm sitting with Gen Zers, a bit younger than me, I find out so many things that I didn't even know that existed. So take focus groups in your community and ask them. Now, if you can't do that, if you can't ask them personally, you can use polls. You can use your newsletter and send polls about different things that interest them. Add a small poll in every newsletter that you send, or send a survey. And you know what? You can even send the polls via your social media. If you're using Instagram, create polls in your Instagram. You can use open-ended questions, or you can use closed answers, so you can find out better who your target audience is and what do they like. Now, my second tip is research for trends. You need to know what's hot in your community, in your area. And you can do it in a variety of ways. We have 3 digital tools that everybody can use that you should go and see what are the trends in your community. First one is Facebook IQ. The second one is YouTube Culture. And the third one is Google Trends. Even if you're not a marketing person, you can go into these websites and segment your target audience by their interest, by their location, by their ages, and they will show you what is the hottest trends that is in your environment. Now, if you do have a social media page in your community or your federation, please go and do that ASAP. Tomorrow morning, go into your Facebook IQ and see what your target audience is interested in. And my third, last but not least, is don't invent the wheel. You heard Hila. She's not inventing the wheel when she's addressing the tribes of Tel Aviv. So don't invent the wheel in the Jewish community as well. See what other organizations are doing that is successful. See how do they target different tribes and different points of interest, and just copy and paste. I'll give you one example. JNF has decided to focus on Israel and engaging the next generation with Israel. So what did they do? They chose sustainability as the interest point that they're focusing. And they did all their activities and some of their messaging about sustainability. And it worked. It was amazing. People were interested. People were engaged. People wanted to listen. And another short example is Birthright, right? Birthright created niche trips based on tribes because they knew that what will get people on is what they're interested in hearing or what they're interested in knowing and sharing through their interest points. So take a look around. We're doing it. Other organizations are doing it. And when you're identifying the tribes and the trends in your community, just experiment and see what works and what doesn't. Now, this is a small segment of our entire workshop in the Vibe Israel Academy. I really hope that we'll get to see you soon face-to-face. And if not, we'll get to see you virtually and you'll join our training. Now, we're going to go on a short break, an 8-minute break. Go and grab yourself some coffee, go grab some snacks. And during the break, we're going to see B, our illustrator. He's illustrating the entire conference. So he's with us live, and you'll get to see some of his illustrations, and we'll get to see the final product when we'll end. So see you soon, guys.